You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
You're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow on WBZH. I'm Mark Lundeen, and here's what's happening in Hayward today. The Hayward Farmers Market is opening up at 9 o'clock, located at the historic Lumberjack Bowl. You're going to find lots of seasonal vegetables and fruits, natural meats, homemade baked goods, eggs from happy wandering chickens, mushrooms, jellies, jams, coffees and teas, soaps and lotions, plants and shrubs, honey and maple syrup, flower bouquets, as well as local artisans and musicians, including John Son of Mel, playing from 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock during the Hayward Farmers Market from 9 until 1 o'clock today. The Hayward Community Food Shelf is opening from 9 until noon today. This is located at 16216 U.S. Highway 63 here in Hayward. Food distributions are every Monday morning and the first Saturday morning of each month from 9 until noon. For more information, you can contact the haywardfoodshelf.net. haywardfoodshelf.net. Hello, Tech. Maybe you need some help with your gadgets? From 10 until 11 o'clock at the Sherman and Ruth Weiss Community Library. Get one-on-one assistance with phones, tablets, and laptops. Staff will be available. Help book your spot by calling 715-634-2161. You also might want to check with that number in case the library is closed and this workshop isn't offered, since it is a holiday Monday. The Strong Bodies program will be offered at the Lakota Ray Elder Center, located at 13856 West Corbine Road in Stone Lake. They will be increasing strength, muscle mass, and bone density in classes that are held twice weekly, including progressive resistance training, balance training, and flexible exercises. You will want to call Bob at 715-699-3529 to verify that this program is also operating normally on a Monday, but since today is a holiday, you might want to double check with them. The same with the seniors. The super senior classes are regularly scheduled for Mondays. A 45-minute class geared towards 60 and older and is chair-based. They work on balance, strength, coordination, core, and having fun. Check out information at 715-634-3000 for more information if they are open today. Tuesday, September 2nd at 8:30 to 9:30 at the Cable Community Center. Eccentrics Fitness class is available. The community center is located at 13660 County Highway M here in Cable. From 8:30 until 9:30, some fitness classes again at the Cable Community Center. Also Tuesday, September 2nd at 10 o'clock, the Spider Lake Hayward campus will be open for the Northwoods Community Food Shelf. This is located at 11255 Highway 77 in Hayward, just north of the Hayward Hospital. This food shelf is using foods that were recovered from Marketplace and Walmart, which are items close to their expiration date but not expired. They have meats and produce primarily. Everyone's encouraged to get food from this program regardless of your financial situation. Again, Tuesday from 10 until 3 at the Spider Lake Youth Center. Boys soccer varsity match is happening at 5 o'clock. Spooner High School, Spooner Soccer. Again, boys varsity match starting at 5 o'clock this evening at the Spooner High School. At 5:30, Craft and Conversation. This one is about how to make fry bread. Learn how to make fry bread with Beverly Bearhart and enjoy casual conversation. They'll have all the supplies that you need, but feel free to bring a notebook and take notes. Registration is required for this event as space is limited to 10 teens and adult participants. You can register by calling 715-634-2161 or stopping by the library front desk. Again, craft and conversation is how to make fry bread. Tomorrow at 5:30 until 6:30 at the Sherman and Ruth Weiss Community Library Meeting Room. On Wednesday, September 3rd, 9 a.m., Girls Varsity Invitational will be held at the Spooner Golf Course. Again, Girls Varsity Invitational starting at 9 a.m. on Wednesday at the Spooner Golf Course. Once again on Wednesday from 10 until 3, the Northwoods Community Food Shelf will be open for you to pick up food. Everyone's encouraged to get food from this program regardless of your financial situation. This is located at the Spider Lake Youth Center at 11255 Highway 77 here in Hayward. At 10:30 on Wednesday, September 3rd, again, the Lacoudere Elders Association will be having Strong Bodies program. This has been shown to increase strength, muscle mass, and bone density. Classes are held twice weekly and include progressive resistance training, balance training, and flexibility exercises. For transportation, you can call Bob at 715-699-3529. This is the Strong Bodies program at the LCO Aging and Disability Center from 10:30 till 11:30. You've been listening to WBZH Hayward Today, local report on mornings with Pat Kreitlow. To stay up to date with everything in the Hayward Lakes area, download the Civic Media app and click on WBZH in the station listings. Coming up after local news and information, Pat Kreitlow returns. I'm Mark Lundeen, and I'll be back here in 20 minutes on Buzz of the North. It's 6:59.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
You're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow on WBZH, the Buzz of the North. I'm Greg Gunderson with Rachel Casey, and here's what's happening in Hayward this Labor Day morning. Happy Labor Day. It is the 1st of September 2025. Rachel, can you believe that it's already September?
I cannot, but I'm so happy about it.
Why are you happy that it is September?
That is the start of my favorite season of all time.
So are you... I'm going there. Are you one of those pumpkin spice latte people?
You know the answer.
I do know the answer. But I'm pretending not to because It's a fantastic effect. Yes, Rachel is the pumpkin spice person. And here's the funny part. You weren't one of those people. I mean, you catch a lot of trends right before the marketing really peaks. Like you started getting into mushrooms right before you could find mushroom stuff everywhere. And that's happened a couple times. But when it came to the pumpkin spice thing, at least from my perspective, it seemed like you got involved kind of late. Like you decided, you know what, I'm for this after it was around. Am I totally off base to even suggest such a thing?
You know, in this case, I think you might be. I'm pretty sure I remember always loving.
So you're a pumpkin spice hipster as well.
Yeah.
On top of all the other, things you loved before that you were cool.
Before llamas were cool.
That I will vouch for. That I will vouch for. Before you could find llama towels at every Target, Rachel was seeking them out, and we were buying up. You know, I'll tell you what. Rachel was buying llama goods at Goodwill before Goodwill started ratcheting prices up because they knew they were popular. Thank you, Macklemore. Dude.
For real.
real cool to have a nice, successful rapper from a neighboring state. But when he started popping tags, so did Goodwill.
Yeah.
They started reaching right into my wallet. In fairness, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm thinking the general customer changed for Goodwill when that kind of thing got popular. So I mean, it was only a matter of time. But I don't know. This was absolutely not the topic that I had planned for today, but that's A-okay. That's A-okay. The beginning of the fall season is a topic all its own. And in fact, what I wanted to chat about was Labor Day in general. Of course, I think everybody has gotten a taste of the history of Labor Day. In a nutshell, various states had various celebrations celebrated at different points throughout the year. And then there was a point in the early 1800s where there was made a federal holiday, the first Monday of September. But when that first happened, it was just a holiday for federal workers only. And so it was your post office. It was things like that. A similar list of things might be closed, but it was a much shorter list because most places were still rocking and rolling. And so for decades and decades after the federal holiday version of it came about, unions were pushing their members to strike on that day and to attempt to basically force it to be a nationwide thing. Since that started happening, every single state, territory, and I think it's even more broadly federally recognized, officially speaking, has the Labor Day. So there you go. There's the nutshell history. I think Oregon was technically the first state to officially recognize it. And if you want more, it is out there. But I mean, I think it says something that something so non-specific and broad as labor got such broad agreement. Like, as a country, agreeing on things, I know right now we're kind of especially bad at it in a lot of ways because there's a lot of money being poured into making us bad, etc. We could, again, not the topic we planned for today. But still, it stands out to me that that's a pretty vague push. Right. We all get a day off because we're, there's
we work.
And of course now there's all kinds of political implications and ridiculous layers to those kinds of conversations. But at the time it was like, hey, we all agree on this enough to actually get something done, a simple goal achieved by group effort. That is right. It makes me sad to a degree, but I look forward to the day when we rally back to something like that, when there's a cause similar to that, where it's something that's a foregone conclusion, a matter of time. I feel like I'm struggling to think of similar things that have happened recently. Later today, Rachel, what I wanted to talk to you about, and I know this is very only tangentially related, but again, we discussed it last week. I think one of the things that we're doing here on Monday mornings is just being a couple who have mixed backgrounds, between me growing up here in the middle of nowhere, you growing up more urban, but less urban than many people, and transitioning to here after I dipped a toe in that slightly more urban environment. I think between the two of us, I mean, I don't know. Do you feel like you've really lived in the big city?
No, absolutely not.
I didn't think so. And I think that's probably what's missing from our list. You haven't lived in a high-rise apartment, Neither of us has. The biggest city I've lived in, about 65,000. The biggest city you lived in technically has a population of what?
Well, I don't know what St. Paul is, honestly.
Right. So, well,
I guess technically.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Do you feel like you lived in St. Paul?
I don't feel like I lived there because it was just my first year of college, and it was also transitory in that way,
Right. Okay, well, you were a college student in St. Paul, so even that's a particular angle. Well, suffice to say, you and I are young people. I'm just past 30. You're not quite there. And we have dipped a toe in most of the types of living situations here, at least in Wisconsin, and a taste of Minnesota too, in your case, mostly in Minnesota. And while we haven't necessarily really truly both lived in the big city, I feel like just sharing what has happened to us might be a path that we don't realize we've walked that might be walkable for other people. I mean, I know it might be unique because not everybody has a significant other who's dragging them up here like you did, or a family member who's starting a business up here that's an anchor that I can rely upon like I did. But there still might be people looking for a way to exist up here or just curious. I know I am an absolute nosy little goblin for slice of life. If you're willing to show me like a 15-degree slice of your 360-degree life, nom 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 nom. Give me that.
Yummy.
I want all of that. I don't know why, but I love that. And so later today, we're gonna dive. Well, later this hour. Later today, it's radio habits. Right now, though, you're listening to WBZH's local reports on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow. We'll be back later this hour. Keep your finger on the pulse and listen to us when we are back, and listen to Pat Kreitlow too when he's back with the Civic Media app. We'll be back later. I'm Gray. She's Rachel. We're back with WBZH's local report on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow. Happy Labor Day. Gray here once again with Rachel. Here's what's happening in Hayward this morning, or more accurately, here in the Hayward studio, because Rachel, we're talking about jobs, our jobs. Now, again, I know this is only tangentially related to Labor Day, but Labor Day is one of those few holidays without a weird origin that's been warped through time. No, it was recognition of those who put the hours in. Mm-hmm. And special shout out to those of you who happen to be listening and who are putting those hours in right now. In that weird way, you're who today is actually about. So thank you for doing what you do. I know that that doesn't make the day easier, smoother, faster, but you are appreciated. Yeah. That said, Rachel, I just wanted to chat about jobs we've had, because I think between the two of us, we've probably had a reasonably diverse set of them. I'm guessing that I kind of expect us to surprise ourselves here. So what's the first job you ever had? What's the first? I mean, go for it. What's your answer? What's your gut answer to that question?
I was a dietary assistant at a rehabilitation center and nursing home.
How old were you?
15.
Okay, so you were work permit, had your parents sign a form that the state required kind of thing.
You know, I don't remember it being all of a big thing, but yeah.
I'm sure it's not a big, it's not out of the norm by any means, but maybe Minnesota does it differently. You can tell my ignorance on this one, but Wisconsin, at least for some time, has required some degree of a work permit, basically, for people under the age, I believe, of 16, though I think that was recently expanded. Anyway, once again, not the topic I plan to cover today. But so you were a dietary aide for a nursing home. Mm-hmm. And, okay, that sounds great. That sounds clean. That sounds almost fun. Am I wrong? So it was a job after all.
It was sure a job.
What did you do? Tell us about it.
It was basically just setting the table and making sure all the residents had their meal requests into the kitchen and things like that.
Do you remember the population of the nursing home? Do you remember the number of residents or beds?
Ooh, I want to say like 30-ish.
Okay.
20 maybe.
And this would have been near that St. Paul area. So it wouldn't have been any lack of population if their accommodations and their charges were reasonably competitive. So that's one of those things. That's the main difference with the big city. If there's a reasonable call, there's a little bit more job security, because there might, you can weather the minor shifts in markets in general. And so things like a nursing home, you're not going to reach that too many point very soon.
Yeah.
So why don't you work there anymore? Why aren't you still there working? I mean, as a dietary aide, I'm guessing that's not something that's planned as a long-term thing for anybody who might hold it.
Yeah. Well, I remember at that time, it was my first reach out into anything related tangentially to the medical world.
Okay.
So I was wondering what I'd be able to get my foot in the door with that would still be related, and that was it. And I found out it wasn't all that exciting, but
Fair enough. Okay. My first job was making beds at a local resort. I was mowing lawns and things before that, and I'd even hauled a little bit of wood for a local business, a tavern, in fact. But that was like when I was 12, and so it was like I got paid in Girl Scout cookies. I meant a little bit of cash and a T-shirt for the business. Like there's living in the country, things like that. It's not the same barter system, but it really kind of is in the way. It wasn't necessarily even that I agreed to it. It's just, here's a couple bonuses because you're good kids. And we were the only ones out there who didn't have full-time work. You know, it's there's the adults, and then there's those two little kids over there that'll mow your lawn. Yeah, exactly. So we've indulged ourselves with the earliest jobs. Give me your different job titles as briefly as you can. Like, for example, I have been a server for both a pizza place and a pseudo-Australian place. You might find behind... You get it? You get the idea? Yeah.
I get
it. Yeah, you get it. You get it. I have also worked with injection molding at a bottling plant. I've sold shoes. I've been a bartender. I've taken phone calls for pants and for fishing rods that have broken. And now I am clearly involved in radio. Give me your version of the same, please.
Yeah. I've been involved in front end management of a hotel. I've been
Same. Missed that one.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering, poke, but
that's what we both were doing when we met. So continue.
I've done work in an ER, actually, volunteer work, but that was my longest stint of the same position, actually. And I've done domestic violence and sexual assault, kind of like program coordination work.
Advocacy is a word that comes up often.
Absolutely. I've been involved in mental health rehabilitation. So you can tell I kind of stuck with that medical stuff for a while and leaned towards more mental health as well.
Even when you weren't necessarily helping people, you were still in the hospitality industry.
Exactly.
I think we might have discovered your type. Yeah. I don't want to reduce you. I certainly wouldn't, but you and I make jokes about this kind of thing quite often. You are a what can I do for you so that I can get through my day kind of person. One of my favorite things about you. And one of the things I think we didn't surprise me with our list and its diversity as much as I expected, but one thing that I did find myself thinking about was how lucky you and I were to be able to kind of jump around like that, and it was against the backdrop of secondary education and family that would always give us a room. So there are some things, there's only one word for it, some privileges that you and I definitely need to recognize. Shout out to the parents who make that kind of thing possible, and to the people who make everything we do possible. I'm talking about the people working today. So if you are listening to this from work, I know the words of some radio guy don't matter much, but honestly, seriously, truly, sincerely, thank you so much for those hours you put in. Happy Labor Day. From me, Gray, and Rachel here, and from the whole Civic Media Network, from WBZH, let's get back to it because you've been listening to the Local Report on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow. Pat's coming back. Carry the buzz wherever you go. Listen on your smartphone with the Civic Media app, free on the App Store or Google Play. For WBZH, for Civic Media, I'm Greg Gunderson. She's Rachel Casey.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
You're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow on WBZH. I'm Mark Lundeen, and here's what's happening in Hayward today. With me in the studio is Chris Ruckdaschel of the Hayward Area Chamber of Commerce, and good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Mark. Always great to be here.
We're coming to the end of our summer season here in the Hayward Lakes area, and we're looking towards fall, and of course that's when Fall Fest is going to be coming up here. Unlike the Muskie Fest, this is just a one-day event. So talk a little bit about Fall Fest and what we can expect.
Yeah, that's actually a great lead-in, Mark, because we kind of, in the office, that is, we kind of consider it and kind of joke about it. It's like a one-day Muskie Fest in terms of scope.
Right.
We mix it up. It's a little bit different time of the year, of course, so it's not a carbon copy, but in terms of the structure, the scope, the footprint, all of that, it's very much similar to Muskie Fest. But as you note, it's that one day, again, Saturday, September 20th. We look forward to it each year. Just with the different activities, we try to put new wrinkles, new twists each year, and we feel we've got a few of those this year too. So I'll be touching on those. I want to touch on several things. I always like to start when talking about Fall Fest with our presenting sponsor, which is Northern Lakes Cooperative.
Sure.
And the co-op here has been actually a multi-year sponsor of this community event. So we're very thankful to them for their partnership. They've been great partners to work with. They always have a very nice display themselves. Things actually officially kick off. Even though Fall Fest itself is on the Saturday, our downtown businesses, we ask the city of Hayward each year for permission to have sidewalk sales for our downtown businesses. Yeah. That's been granted again, that permission. We thank the city of Hayward Council for that. And those sidewalk sales can start on Friday, actually, already, on the 19th, and they actually go through Sunday the 21st. But things really start in earnest again. Saturday morning, 9 a.m., we'll be ready. The Fall Fest will be off and running. That's after our, 5 a.m. setup time. It takes several hours. It's amazing how an entire tent city goes up in such a short period of time and in such a condensed space. You've been there, Mark. You know what that looks like. But we're going to start things off. There'll be the traditional handmade art and craft booths and the food trucks that'll be lining up and down Main Street and some of the side streets, because we're very excited. Once again, the past several years, we've also had the Hayward Farmers Market there. They're going to be on 2nd Street, so everybody want to be sure to check them out. We will have our beer and brat tent on Main Street right in that first intersection near the main stage, which the main stage, by the way, is presented by Deerfoot Lodge and Resort. So we will have our beer and brat tent. When I say we, our chamber, ourselves, put that on. And also thanks to our sponsor there, which is Nelson Lumber and Florida Ceiling. But that'll be there in that first intersection. Come and get your beer and brats, soda, water, whatever. We'll have refreshments there. But then we'll also have that selection of food trucks in the food court area there. And then, of course, you know what? If none of those match your palate for that given day, we've got our downtown businesses, downtown restaurants, place to grab things. So food is going to be aplenty during Fall Fest, as it should.
And who do you have on the stage for entertainment that day?
Yeah, well, I'm going through the schedule right now. We're actually very excited. Folks will recognize Sean and Ian Okamoto. They almost need no introduction in these parts. They're going to be on the stage to start with at 10 o'clock. They're actually playing from 10 to 1. From 2 to 5 on the stage, we have a new band we haven't had before. We're very excited about them and the scouting that we've done. They're called Fiddle and Flannels. This is a younger group that is played. They're from the Twin Cities area. They played much of Minnesota, including the Minnesota State Fair. So we're really looking forward to them as well, following Sean and Ian that will be starting in the morning. We do want to thank, for the music itself, Angler's Bar and Grill. That is our sponsor of the music itself. Once again, it's going to be on the Deerfoot Lodge and Resort main stage. Staying on the music theme, though, also, Mark, is we're going to have the Pinery Boys as roaming musicians, you could say, that roaming, strolling, whatever you want to say, around the entire grounds of Fall Fest. We actually had them there last year. We got some great feedback. We thought it was a really nice touch, really added to the atmosphere. We're going to have an apple slingshot going on this year. That's one of those new twists that I'm talking about. We thank Franz and Bank for allowing us to use their green lot for that. There'll be kids pumpkin decorating. There'll be face painting and balloon twisting. We're going to have a scarecrow contest, which local businesses or individuals can enter. Can submit an entry into that. We're going to have a kind of a variation on bobbing for apples as well. So all of that's going to be very exciting.
So in addition to that, you also have your annual banquet that the Chamber puts on and supports the area businesses and, of course, the Chamber. When is that, and what's on the docket for that event?
Yep, it's coming up on Thursday, November 6th. So we're looking ahead a little bit there. It's going to be at the Steakhouse and Lodge, who always does a wonderful job the years that they host that. That's going to be, it's an invitation to all of our Chamber members. There is a limit seating space-wise, so we do encourage folks to RSVP early for that. And we give out awards in various categories that include Large Business of the Year, Small Business of the Year, New Business or New Business Ownership of the Year. We also want to honor the Outstanding Employee Director of Manager of the Year for a for-profit business as well as for a nonprofit organization. We honor the Service Organization of the Year, and then another big one, especially in a community like ours, is the Volunteer of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking forward to honoring all of those folks there.
And all of this will be on the website.
Actually, we'll be on the website as we get closer. We do send out information to our members as well via e-blast on this information too. As a matter of fact, usually a couple of different times just to make sure everyone's tracking on it real well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, Chris, as we get closer to maybe that annual dinner date, and we didn't mention the holiday raffle, but we can talk more about that the next time you come in here, because we'll be closer to the holiday season and have that information out there.
Yep, it'll be prime season.
Thanks, Chris, for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
You've been listening to WBZH Hayward Today, local report on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow. To stay up to date with everything going on in the Hayward Lakes area, download the Civic Media app and click on WBZH in the radio station listings. Coming up after local news and information, Pat Kreitlow returns. I'm Mark Lundeen, and I'll be back with more Hayward area information tomorrow morning. It's 8:29.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.